Now, let's leave Congolese politics, which we have concentrated on today, and talk about the other big story in Africa, Sudan. Yesterday, we reported on the ongoing anti-government protests that took place in Khartoum's twin city, Omdurman. 3 people lost their lives when security forces opened fire on protesters and several others were wounded. Many accounts have emerged of wide-scale crackdown against people in their homes by the security forces. Here's one account.
We just heard the screaming, and as soon as he looked out the windows, there were 4 big policeman cars and a lot of policemen all around the house and in front of the house. And then when he went downstairs, he didn't even get the chance to explain what was going on. When we walked outside, there was a lot of them. They entered in the house, in the garden, and they were after 12 to 16-year-old, his nieces and nephews, 12 to 16-year-old children. They went out in the car to the shop with the driver, and on the way back home, they opened the car windows. They were protesting and taking videos on their cell phones. And then 4 of these big cars followed them home. They were so aggressive. They were hitting on the car. They were pointing their guns at the windows at 12 to 16-year-old children in the car. They were terrified. It was traumatizing. We were all traumatized by what happened, and then this was the main reason that they came to the house, and they took my husband and 2 of his brothers without even talking to them or explaining anything. It was barbaric. They were hitting everybody around, and they just took them and they left, and we didn't know what was going on. They were just screaming. And they just left my husband. And on his way, when he got back home, his right arm was injured terribly. We will be sending some pictures with this recording. And unfortunately, he broke his right arm, and he was hospitalized last night until they took care of it. Yeah, that's exactly what happened last night.
An account there from Khartoum of the government crackdown on protests and civilians. Videos have emerged of the security forces storming Omdurman General Hospital, firing tear gas and live ammunition in the hospital's wards and buildings. To tell us more, I am joined now by Amjad Farid, who is a Sudanese doctor and political activist. Amjad, tell us what you've heard from your colleagues in Omdurman Hospital.
Yesterday, around 20,000 people have stormed and taken the streets of Khartoum in response to a call from Sudan Professional Association in a march demanding Bashir and the ruling National Congress Party to step down. The security forces have responded to that by using excessive and lethal forces, and this led to many injuries within the peaceful protesters. Those injured protesters were taken to different hospitals in Omdurman. Security forces have raided Omdurman Hospital around 5 o'clock and fired a lot of live bullets, live ammunition, and tear gases inside the hospital, and detained many doctors and protesters from inside the hospital. They considered everybody who was wounded or wearing a mask for the tear gas as being a protester. They detained them, and many of them are still in detention.
So this was not just a case of them targeting the hospital, but it's because they feel that there are people there who are against the government.
They for the last few weeks, because the doctors were striking and were part of the part of the professional association, the doctors and hospitals are being targeted. The head of the doctor syndicate, Dr. Ahmed al-Sheikh, have been detained since the 25th, along with many other doctors, his deputy Naguib Najmuddin, Dr. Amal Jabrallah, and Dr. Ihsan Fagiri, and the last, Dr. Muhammad Nagil Assam, who has been detained from his house because he was the public speaker of the association. Doctors have announced a public strike since 19th of December, but yesterday, after the raid in Omdurman Hospital, they announced total walkout from the hospital because they cannot maintain or keep the safety of the patients. They cannot work in Omdurman Hospital while the government forces are firing live bullets inside the hospital.
What will it take for people to stop these protests? Or is it now a do or die? They're going to go all out?
People are demanding their basic rights. They're demanding public services from the government. People are demanding their rights of freedom in representation and in a government that provide actually something to them. The government is spending less than 5% of its budget in health and education and public services and social security, while spending 2/3 of its annual budget on security and defense. This cannot go for forever. People are demanding these rights, and they will not stop until they get it.
Amjad Farid, Sudanese doctor and political activist. Thank you very much.